Let me ask you something no one dares to confront. What is the foundation you're standing on? Not the shoes, not the floor, but the philosophy, the identity, the invisible truth you live by. Because when the winds howl, when the storm breaks loose and the lights flicker out, it's not the man with the most motivation who stands tall. It's the man whose life is built on rock, not sand. A man whose mind has been forged like steel in the furnace of discipline and belief. A man whose foundation, like Carnegie's or Lincoln's, was constructed not in comfort, but in clarity. You want a life that won't collapse? You better stop building it like a house of cards in a hurricane of distraction. See, this world offers you illusion. It hands you mirrors and filters, noise and convenience, dopamine traps and digital gold. And while you're distracted by glitter, the ground beneath you is crumbling. You scroll while your self-worth rots. You react while your direction withers. You seek comfort while your soul begs for conviction. And when life finally strikes, as it always does, it won't ask if you're ready. It won't warn you before the market crashes, the friend betrays, the deal fails, the diagnosis arrives. It will just come, suddenly, violently. And if your foundation is made of hollow dreams and weak habits, you will fall. But not if you've prepared. Not if you've built a life that cannot collapse. Not if you've chosen the hidden road, the one men like Edison and Ford walked barefoot through, bleeding, doubted, bankrupt, laughed at, but unshakable. Let me be clear, this kind of life doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from interrogation. You must interrogate your values like a detective. Your routines like a general preparing for war. Your thoughts like a surgeon removing rot. Because if you don't get intentional, you will be infected by the world's mediocrity, by your family's fear, by your past failures, by every unhealed part of you that says, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. OP, I'll do it tomorrow. That voice, kill it, bury it under daily execution, drown it in purpose, starve it with action. Because there is a different voice, the voice of your highest self, and it whispers not comfort but command. Build something worthy, not flashy, not fast but solid, eternal. A life that cannot collapse and that starts in the mind. Everything begins and ends in the battlefield of thought. Hill said it. Emerson knew it. So did Marcus Aurelius. You become what you allow to live inside your mind. Your beliefs aren't harmless, they're blueprints. And if your blueprint says you're average, scared, stuck, you'll build that reality with chilling precision. But if your mind is anchored in purpose, you'll bend reality to your vision. It doesn't matter what the world throws at you. If your mental foundation is bulletproof, then losses become lessons, not funerals. Delay becomes preparation, not punishment. Pain becomes training, not torment. That's how men like Nelson Mandela endured decades of prison without collapsing. That's how Helen Keller spoke power into a world that couldn't see her. That's how you will walk through fire and not be burned. You must master the habit of mental construction. Every morning you lay bricks, gratitude, focus, faith, discipline, vision, action. And these aren't just words. They are the beams holding your entire life together. You can't afford to skip a day. You can't afford to wing it. You don't hope into strength. You build it brick by invisible brick inside your mind. Before the world ever sees it, you want peace? Stop chasing it. Construct it. Like an architect builds a cathedral, you must design a life that reflects your soul, not your ego, your values, not your vices, your potential, not your pain. But clarity comes at a cost. You will lose people. You will walk alone. You will question your sanity. You will be misunderstood, mocked, abandoned. But let them go. Let every shallow bond break. Because a house built on sand collapses under pressure, and people built on comfort can't walk with those who are building legacies. And once you've dug deep enough, past the distractions, past the self-doubt, past the noise, you'll find something most people never access. Stillness. The kind of stillness that isn't empty, but overflowing. Stillness that speaks, stillness that knows. Stillness that becomes the compass for everything else. Because clarity isn't found in motion. It's found in silence. And most people fear silence because it reveals the truth about who they are, the truth about what they've been avoiding, the truth about the life they've been faking. But that truth, it's sacred, because once you see it, once you face it, you become dangerous. You become a man or woman who walks differently, speaks differently, moves through chaos like it's a symphony, because your peace is no longer negotiable. That's what separates those who rise from those who collapse. It's not luck, it's not timing, it's internal alignment. When your values, your thoughts, your habits, your speech, and your actions all point in the same direction, you become immovable. The world can rage and swirl around you like a hurricane, but you walk through it like Moses parted the sea. Not because it's easy, because you're anchored in vision, anchored in integrity, anchored in belief. But understand this, belief is not passive. Belief must be earned. You must live in a way that earns your own respect. You must prove to yourself every day that your vision matters. And that comes through consistent, intentional, aligned action. Action is sacred. Not just the big, loud moves, but the small, quiet decisions, the ones no one claps for. Waking up early when you don't feel like it. Reading instead of scrolling. Speaking the truth when it's inconvenient. Finishing what you start. Because how you do the small things is how you construct the big life. And make no mistake, a life that cannot collapse is not a life without struggle. It's a life with structure, and that structure must be reinforced daily. Because every day the world tries to pull out your beams. Every day doubt hammers at your foundation. Fear whispers at your doors. Temptation windows, but you stand, you reinforce, you recalibrate. Because you're not waiting for peace, you're producing it. You want power? Power is alignment. Power is discipline. Power is when your habits protect your dreams like soldiers guarding a throne. You don't need a miracle. You need a system, a structure, a strategy so precise, so intentional that success becomes inevitable. Because success is not an event, it's an ecosystem, built one decision at a time. So ask yourself, are your habits reinforcing your structure or weakening it? Is your environment nourishing your mission or starving it? Are your thoughts planting seeds of strength or weeds of weakness? You're not a product of your past. You are the architect of your future. But only if you own the tools, and you already have them. You have the power to shift your perspective, to question every false limitation, to delete every excuse that's kept you small, to speak new life into your day the moment you open your mouth. So speak power, speak intention, speak alignment, because your words aren't just communication, they're construction. Every thought you entertain, every word you repeat, every belief you reinforce is either laying bricks for a fortress or digging a hole for collapse. Choose wisely. This is the difference between temporary success and permanent transformation, between a high point and a higher standard, between surviving one season and thriving for a lifetime. So build yourself into someone who doesn't just withstand the storm, but welcomes it. Someone who knows the fire only refines, never destroys. Someone whose roots run too deep to be ripped out by surface-level problems. You don't need a better plan. You need a better mindset. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. You don't need easier circumstances. You need a stronger internal structure. It's built right now, in this breath, in this moment, by this choice. Because what you do in this moment echoes across the architecture of your entire life. You think it's just a decision, just one morning skipped, just one goal delayed. But each one is a chisel. Each choice carves character into the foundation of your future. And if you allow enough cracks, if you ignore enough warning signs, collapse isn't a possibility. It's a certainty. Look around you. The graveyard is full of dreams that died not from lack of desire, but from lack of structure, from men who had ambition but no endurance, from women who had talent but no clarity, from lives that were built wide but never deep. Depth wins, depth survives, depth cannot be shaken. You must stop asking how quickly you can build a life and start asking how deeply you can root it. Because when the roots run deep, the storm becomes irrelevant. You don't just bounce back, you bend, you stretch, you grow stronger. This is what they never taught you in school, that your inner life is the master key, that your beliefs drive behavior, that your emotions shape your energy, that your habits create your destiny. They taught you formulas, but they never taught you the formula. The one Napoleon Hill shouted from mountaintops cloaked in silence, definiteness of purpose, clarity of vision, mastery of self, faith applied through disciplined, relentless action. That's how you build a life immune to collapse. A life too focused to be fooled, too intentional to be broken, too purpose-driven to be distracted, But most won't do it. They'll keep chasing comfort and they'll keep blaming life and calling it bad luck. And when their fragile empire crumbles, they'll ask why, but not you, not the man or woman who hears this and decides, I build differently. Because once you make that decision, really make it, everything changes. You stop negotiating with your lower self. You stop apologizing for your standards. You stop giving discounts on your time, your values, your energy. You move different. You think different. You act like a builder of empires, because that's exactly what you are. Not an empire of brick and stone, but of soul and fire. A life designed with deliberate purpose and defended with ferocious discipline. Every great monument was once just a line drawn in the dirt. So draw the line. Draw it today. Declare to yourself, I will build something the world cannot destroy. I will outlast the chaos, outlive the critics, outperform my past, because I am not fragile. I am not fleeting. I am not fake. I am foundational, and I build from within. But don't stop there, because this isn't a motivational high. This is a structural decision. And real builders don't just dream at sunrise and quit by sunset. They show up day after day, when it's cold, when it's inconvenient, when the crowd disappears, because their why is bigger than applause, their vision outlasts the mood, their standard remains even when the world falls silent. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need to believe in your blueprint and then follow it like a sacred oath. You wake up and honor the plan. You block the distractions. You sharpen your tools. You get to work because you know your future isn't waiting to be found. It's waiting to be built. And as you build, something shifts. You stop craving outcomes. You start falling in love with the process because you realize the true reward was never the finish line. It was who you became getting there. That grit, that resilience, that clarity, it wasn't handed to you. You bled for it. You earned it in silence while the world slept. You carved it into your identity with every disciplined act no one applauded. And now you walk differently, not with arrogance, but with unshakable certainty. Not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. Not because the pain stopped, but because you've learned how to alchemize it. You've learned how to turn adversity into instruction. You've learned how to take criticism and translate it into correction. You've learned how to stare chaos in the face and say, I will not break. I am not built to break. And let me tell you something timeless. A life built on surface winds will always collapse under pressure. But a life built on principle, purpose, and patience, that life is eternal. It will outgrow betrayal, it will outbuild every shortcut and outshine every trend. Because greatness isn't loud, it's not viral, it's not fleeting. Greatness is built slowly, methodically, relentlessly, on mornings when no one is watching, on nights when everyone else quit, on decisions so small they'd be easy to ignore, but you didn't. You showed up when it was raining, when it was hard, when it was boring. You showed up anyway, and that is what separates builders from dreamers. Dreamers wait for the mood. Builders build it. Dreamers chase the wind. Builders anchor their souls. Dreamers collapse in storms. Builders become the storm. You are not here to flirt with your future. You are here to marry your purpose. That means full commitment. No backup plans. No maybes. No more asking for permission from people who are too scared to build their own life. You want to be different? Start acting like it. Stop explaining your hunger to people who are full of mediocrity. Stop looking for encouragement from those who never dared. Stop outsourcing your power. Take it back. Take it all back. Because the life you've been praying for is not found in another book, another course, another guru. It's already inside you. It's been waiting on one thing, for you to trust your own fire. You think Edison waited for confidence before experimenting? You think Carnegie waited for perfect timing? You think Lincoln waited for peace before standing tall in war? No. They moved anyway. They believed anyway. They built anyway. And when the foundation shook, they reinforced it. So should you. Reinforce your mind. Reinforce your routine. Reinforce your principles every single day. Because the dream that lasts is the one that is defended daily. You don't reach this level by accident. You construct it. You maintain it. You protect it like sacred ground. Because it is. Your life, your real life, the one you're building with every choice is sacred. So don't treat it casually, don't decorate it with convenience, don't patch its cracks with lies, go deeper, fortify the foundation. And when life tries to tear it down again, because it will, you won't even flinch, Because by then you'll know you didn't build a dream, you built a fortress, and no matter what shakes, you will not fall. Because the real secret, the one no one told you, is this. You don't become unbreakable by avoiding pressure. You become unbreakable by embracing it. By standing in the furnace and letting it melt away every part of you that isn't real, every lie, every excuse, every insecurity. What remains is forged in discipline, forged in vision, forged in the sacred silence between intention and execution. And when you live like that, when every move is aligned with purpose, you stop chasing validation. You stop trying to fit in. You stop explaining your fire to those who fear their own spark. You just build, quietly, intentionally, relentlessly, and one day they'll ask how you did it, how you became unshakable, how your life never collapsed when there's still. And you'll smile, not with arrogance, but with truth, because you'll know. While they were distracted, you were devoted. While they were comfortable, you were committed. While they were entertained, you were evolving. You were laying the bricks no one saw. You were climbing the staircase no one believed in, and you didn't do it for applause. You did it because you made a promise to yourself, to your purpose, to the version of you waiting on the other side of consistency. That's what this is about. Not just success, not just status, but becoming the person who honors every inch of their potential, who leaves no greatness untapped, who takes every scar, every setback, and turns it into structure. You want to be free? Then build something that can't be taken. Not a title, not a bank account, not a brand. Build a mindset, build a character, build a philosophy so unshakable that when the world shifts, you don't. Because you're not standing on trends, you're not standing on likes, you're not standing on luck, you're standing on values, principles, purpose. And when your foundation is made of that, you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to argue with doubters, you just keep building. And you let time tell the story, because time always reveals what was built for storms and what was only built for sunny days. You're not here to be impressive, you're here to be immovable. And that begins with mastery of self. Control your thoughts, or your thoughts will control you. Command your habits, or your habits will command your future. Master your emotions, or your emotions will master your destiny. No one else is responsible for this structure. Not your parents, not your boss, not your past, not even your pain. It's you. It's always been you. You are the builder. You are the blueprint. You are the storm and the shelter. And when you live like that, when you finally step into that power, everything changes. Not overnight, not instantly, but inevitably, because what's built right doesn't break what's rooted in truth. While they chased speed, I chose strength. While they begged for peace, I built it brick by invisible brick. And now no matter what comes, I will not fall because my life was never meant to collapse. It was meant to rise. Now go, live it and never look back.